Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where we deleted our Twitch accounts and we don't support unionization.
Yeah, the WWE made us say that, but yeah, I just wanted to say poor Zelina, it really sucks, and what an evil corporation.
Evil? Did you say evil?
Well, I'm
Did
Jazz.
somebody... I'm Johnny.
Yeah, I don't know. But hey, you know what though? The good thing is that SmackDown did not suck. SmackDown was actually a lot of fun. We got to see a debut, although it is a very weird debut as something weird happens. But we got to see Drew McIntyre as well, man. That was quite a surprise.
Yeah, this episode was quite good. I wonder if it was just Drew McIntyre or it was just overall quite good. Probably a bit of both.
Also, Sami not losing his title was also very nice, but
That gave me a little heart attack.
that's
Mini
it.
heart attack.
So we're gonna jump in first. The show opens up with the tribal chief. He's in the ring, and he calls this the his island of relevancy because, if you take Jey Uso for example, before he was the twin that I guess we didn't know which one was which, and now he's a main eventer, right? Like he took out Daniel Bryan, he took out KO, and at Survivor Series he's going to lead Team SmackDown to victory.
His Team SmackDown.
That's it. And he talks about how on the same night he's going to defeat the secondary champion Randy Orton. He starts spitting fire on Randy Orton, basically saying that he respects his accomplishments, but not Randy Orton himself. And out comes Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, because you know he was going to talk about Drew McIntyre because there was a little package saying that it might be Drew McIntyre he faces on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Drew McIntyre figured that's what he was going to say and said he was just stopping by and he heard what he was saying. And he's like, before you even talk about me, just so you know, I'm going to be facing you. And he talks about all of their previous encounters. He mentions how it was him who eliminated him
That
at
was
the
good.
Royal Rumble. He
That was good.
mentions how Roman Reigns disappeared after WrestleMania, but Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes, which is a very cool thing to have these two face each other since they're the two guys that beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
I just liked the moment where he talks about how, when Roman left, Drew McIntyre, like, he's like, I'm the one that actually went to the top of my game, and Roman
Yeah,
wouldn't know any of that because he just left everyone high and dry. I thought that was a pretty cool, good moment as well.
yeah, and then Roman basically says he likes Drew and he agrees with him and he speaks the truth. But now Roman's back and he's the man and nobody watches Raw. So why don't you tell SmackDown who Drew McIntyre is? And Drew McIntyre fires back with he just fires back just as good as Roman Reigns here, and he says he's the guy who's going to beat Randy Orton, and then he's going to also basically beat Roman at Survivor Series and show him who the real secondary inferior champion is.
I mean, can I just say that was just all great stuff? This
Yeah,
promo,
that was
like this whole segment was incredible, and I'm like, SmackDown is starting on such a high. Like, I'm really hoping that it's able to keep up. Um,
a totally unexpected appearance by Drew McIntyre.
yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
over though. Jay shows up,
Mhm.
and Jay's kind of like ready to challenge Drew. He's all fired up,
Mhm.
and he doesn't really he asks Drew if he wants to accept this challenge, but Drew is about to say something, but he drops the mic, and then he kind of shoves Jay, and it gets a little heated, gets in Roman's face, but they kind of just walk away to kind of end the segment there. So a little bit of tension at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And man, I was like, pinch me, because am I dreaming? We see a graphic of Rollins versus Mysterio, and it's supposedly the final chapter.
God, can you believe we've come this far?
Oh man. But hey, you know what? Before we go there though, we're backstage with Roman who's yelling at Drew, but like he's chewing him apart, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
this side of Roman is so intense and it's so incredible. But again, he's just senselessly just yelling at him. I mean, he's like, listen, there's no us, there's no we. I never told you to come out there. I never told you to, call the shots and make up a match. I make up the matches over here. And, Jey Uso's like, all right, I'm going to take care of it. So, again, just some really, really good stuff. Roman just hitting it out of the park. And now here's the thing. Here's what bothers me. We have Sami Zayn, who's the Intercontinental Champion. He does not even get an entrance, right?
He's already in the ring, yeah,
And he's
which doesn't bode well for our hero.
Yeah, but he basically, he's already in the ring, and he talks about how he has to face Apollo Crews, and he only found out, he was only informed about this like an hour ago. And like this is sabotage essentially. Like it's unfair treatment, and out comes Apollo, who actually gets a proper entrance, right? But
Yeah.
Sami Zayn was such a genius. Like again, we see some strong showing from Apollo at the beginning, like some great offensive prowess, but Sami was the one that came out on top.
Well, I think that Sami Zayn did a wonderful job with his promo. I think he knocked it out of the park. He completely put over Apollo Crews, saying that like it was such short notice that he would have to face a former champion. Like he did such a great job with that, and he turns it around and says that he will use this as an opportunity to prove that he is the better champion, and he's going to defeat Apollo Crews. And then we have not such a great match. We have a match where Apollo Crews is pretty much in firm control until Sami Zayn does some more clever ways to win the match in ways you've never seen before, by like pulling the whole apron out, like kind of like tripping Crews shoulder first into the apron, the exposed like support bar, and then kind of locking his foot there so he can get in for the 10 count and have Apollo Crews get counted out.
Yeah.
So totally effective way to put over Sami and Apollo Crews. Sami was very good in this segment. Match wasn't super great though, let's be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a match with the way that it finished, but again, just some really brilliant stuff from Sami Zayn. But before we kind of move on to the next segment, I did also want to mention, I was really, really afraid again that they were going to give this to Apollo just so that they're going to kind of do the whole Apollo, Bobby Lashley stuff. But
didn't feel worth it, but I was afraid.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to move on to Kayla, who introduces Rey Mysterio and his whole family backstage.
This is Familia.
The final chapter, and Rey says that everything kind of changed when Seth Rollins started targeting his family, right? Like, he devoted his time trying to cause a rift between his family with the text messages, with, like all the torment that he's caused, like Dominic and the whole thing with Buddy Murphy as well. So tonight, everything that he has done will culminate into one final fight. And he doesn't call Seth Rollins a Messiah. He's no Messiah. He's actually the devil. And he's going to send Seth Rollins to hell.
Drink every time they say final chapter, because that's a fun game to play. Yeah, decent promo by Rey Mysterio. He said a lot of things that we already know, but yeah, good way to close it. And I'm very excited about this final chapter. And it's boss time, but it also is commercial time before boss time.
It's always commercial time after boss time.
I know. It's like last few weeks they always do that. They have a match flow to recap what happened last week. And Sasha cuts a great promo in the ring about she's at the top of her game, and that all the stuff she went through, a lesser person or any other person might have given up, but she's very good and she's the best, and she's putting the entire division on notice. But she mentions Carmella as well, but we don't get a chance to really see that develop because, and this has happened to me a few times, I have a confession to make. Bayley comes out, okay, but every time it's Bayley's music that hits, I think Seth Rollins is going to come out, and it gets me every time.
Just a little bit, yeah. It's kind of similar.
Now, I didn't like this part because essentially what happens is Bayley comes out, Sasha's distracted by Bayley, and then Carmella is in the ring, super kicks her and X Factors her, and I don't think we ever see Bayley again, and Carmella's like taunting, showing off, and she's untouchable. And this really did Bayley dirty, in my opinion. It was fine.
It did. I agree with you. Like, what was the point of that? Like, you could have just maybe, hit Carmella's theme, and Sasha's kind of like...
they do that all the time.
Yeah, so what was the point?
They do that all the time.
Yeah, like, what was the point of having Bayley come all the way to the arena just to kind of look like a chump,
Yeah, like exactly what you're saying. They could have done the thing where the music hits, they're ready for a fight, and then, they're behind you. They do that all the time. And didn't have to kind of involve Bayley here. But other than that, it's fine. Continues the feud. Doesn't do too much. But it was a solid segment.
Yeah. So now we have poor Otis, who lost his best friend, who lost his briefcase, who's kind of eating basically whatever's at catering, and Ziggler
eating his woes.
Yeah, Ziggler and Roode are there. They're making fun of Otis's misfortunes, and Otis is
he's
angry.
Not even there, but he's there. That's what I found weird.
Yeah, Otis is angry, and he just flips the table angrily, and this leads to a match. We have Otis versus Ziggler, and I thought the match was fine. I mean, obviously, Ziggler is kind of there. He's, teasing him. He's slapping him around, but that was a really bad move because Otis just bulldozes him. and he just clobbers him all over the ring. Bobby Roode is there to cause a distraction, and
But not
Ziggler,
really.
I believe Dolph Ziggler hits a zigzag, but he only gets a 2 count. And this is where Otis kind of, takes control. He hits a slam, follows it up with a caterpillar. He goes on to the top rope for a splash. But what was funny is that before he hits the splash, Bobby Roode kind of gets onto the apron to attack him. But Otis kind of gives him a mean look, and Bobby Roode just like retreats, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to have any part of this." And
was this a squash match? Because you pretty much described it as a squash match, because that's what it was. Like Ziggler slaps him early on to taunt him, but it doesn't work, and then Roode has to distract Otis for a second so he can hit the zigzag, only to get a 2 count and then to get beaten up again. And then when Roode tries to interfere again, just gets stared at, and he's afraid. This was pretty. Otis looked very strong here.
He did, and I think Otis needed that after the couple of weeks that he's been having. Let's just say a couple of weeks to forget. So hopefully things look up for Otis. And actually, we're not done with Otis. Before we talk about the next segment, just a very, very quick thing. We're backstage with Seth Rollins and Murphy, and Seth is going over his match. Like we can't really hear what he's talking about, but clearly he's probably talking about his match. But now this is the most interesting part, though. I didn't see this matchup coming, but I actually welcomed this.
No, but this is cool. Yeah. So Otis is backstage and he's hyped. He said he kept his eyes on the prize. He was focused and he was able to win against Dolph Ziggler. And Chad Gable shows up, no longer Shorty G, looking like $1 million, and he basically talks about Otis, saying you know what, you just need a mentor, someone to help you channel that energy and do something great with it, basically to unlock his alpha. I guess that's Chad Gable's new thing. He's about unlocking your alpha, your maximum potential, like ultimate Dragon Ball Z style. And Otis is super into it too. He's like, yeah, we'll be teammates, we'll train together, and then he runs off. And then Chad Gable makes a really weird evil stare, I think. He looks like he's evil. So I don't know what this is about, but I'm intrigued.
I mean, listen, we're going to get to see some TV time, and it won't be Shorty G. It's actually Chad Gable. So
sign me up.
I want definitely more of that. But now we are here. It's the final chapter. It's actually good though.
Yes.
So it's a no holds barred match between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, and it does take a little while to start up, and Rey is actually kind of I'm seeing a different type of offense from Rey, just a bit more aggressive. He starts off and he starts attacking the knees of Seth Rollins. But it just
goes for that takedown.
Again, you're right. And then at one point we see an amazing sunset flip into the barricade. And just a bit before that, we saw a tornado DDT from Rey Mysterio onto the apron. Rey was just really, really aggressive in this match. But overall, I thought this match was excellent. Yeah,
Seth introduces a chair early on as well, but Rey is firmly in control until Seth finds a way to use the steel steps. He wants to set up a curb stomp, but that doesn't end up working. And then Rey Mysterio does a really nice, his sliding splash where he slides on the apron off of the ring. Well, he did that while Seth was on the steps, which was pretty nice.
Yeah.
In the second half of the match, there's a table, and that gets involved. And there's a little bit of a botch. They're basically on the top, and it looks like Rey wants to Hurricanrana Frankensteiner Seth into the table, but they both kind of fall off, and then they both get back up, and Seth performs the powerbomb there, which was very nice.
I mean, it was a decent save.
Yeah. There was a later botch that made it look that was a little bit worse. This one was a decent save. There's a spot as well when Seth is frustrated and pulls out the rubber foot of a steel chair, and he wants to take out the other eye. And this is actually where Dominic gets involved. He pulls Seth out, and he's like, okay, this is not going to happen. But Seth takes him out quickly too. Murphy's there, but Seth says, oh, don't worry about it. I don't need to get involved. But when Seth goes back to fight Mysterio, it looks like Murphy decides to get involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes in the ring. He hands Seth the chair. He's going to pick up Rey to set him up. But then, while Seth is a little bit distracted, huge knee to the face to Seth Rollins from Buddy Murphy. And this is where, essentially, Seth conveniently is angry as Murphy leaves the ring and puts himself in the 619 position, which was a little bit forced. And then Rey Mysterio delivers the 619, but it was super, like, I don't know what happened. I think he like overshot himself and like slipped and fell. And Michael Cole said, "Oh, Seth got a hold of the ropes and like stopped it, and it was like a nice save." And commentary really made it look like a nice save. Mm-hmm. But then basically they just tried again, and then he hit the 619, and then homage to Eddie Guerrero with the frog splash for the win.
Yeah, and that wasn't really the end, because post-match, the whole Familia is inside the ring. They're celebrating, and Buddy Murphy's on the apron, so Rey Mysterio kind of comes up to him. He invites him to the ring, and he shakes his hand. He's like, "You want my blessing? Well, here it is." And then Aaliyah's all happy. She's running into, Buddy's arms, and, she invites him to the family.
They all fist bump, they all hug. Yeah. It's great. A little awkward, but it's great.
Even the mom, Angie, got into the action, and she hugged Buddy Murphy, so they approve. And I guess we can call him Buddy Mysterio now.
Oh my God, what's that? Especially love the character development on the mom there. She hasn't been doing much, so it was nice to see her get some full-fledged character development. But the final chapter, but is it really?
No, I think so. I think the final chapter between Rollins and the Mysterio family is over, but not between Rollins and Murphy.
Absolutely, but if Murphy's associated with them, I wonder how that's like. There's gonna be a little bit, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna be having another match, Rollins and Mysterio, for a little while. So at least that part's over.
Now our next segment, which I find pretty funny, I'm pretty sure one of us called it, about how Natalya is gonna keep on getting second, third, fourth chance matches, because
that was me.
Because basically Adam Pearce is approached by Natalya, and he's like, "I know what you're gonna ask for. I'm gonna give you a third chance, okay?" And Natalya's like, "I don't want to compete. Like, I deserve to, be in this match based on my credentials alone." And she's not happy. She storms off. And then on the side, the camera kind of pans out, and we see Chelsea Green show up. And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like, we're going to see the debut of Chelsea Green."
Yeah, nice.
Really excited about that. But before we kind of see that, Seth Rollins is backstage. He's livid. He's pissed off. And he's kind of like just like knocking, like just, really angrily at Adam Pearce's door. Adam Pearce kind of comes out, and Seth Rollins is like, "Listen, I want to deal with Murphy once and for all. I want to be able to destroy him, and I demand the opportunity to destroy him." So it seems that we might get a match between Seth Rollins and Murphy maybe next week.
Spoiler, like 3 segments later, that's what gets announced. We are going to get that match.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But now we have a triple threat. No, wait. A fatal 4-way. No, wait.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. And, the commentary didn't mention what happened, but it started with 4 women. Everyone was going after Tamina. Tamina was in the corner. She starts kicking everyone one by one. Chelsea Green gets kicked in the face, I think. And then we just never hear from Chelsea Green. And then it becomes a one-on-one match between Liv Morgan and Natalya.
Yeah.
Like, where the heck was Tamina?
I don't know. But Tamina was sent into the barricade, so I guess that's what took her out. I totally missed what happened to Chelsea Green. I was like, what happened to her? And it really was a singles match where Liv Morgan there was a little bit of sloppy interchange, but there was some cool stuff. Yeah. There was like a nice tornado DDT. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. And then Tamina comes into the ring basically to take a pin from Liv, and it just something must have went wrong, or like poor Chelsea Green, because that was the most unfortunate debut you could ever have. Maybe she got hurt. That's what we were discussing. But I didn't see it. I can't confirm yet, so I don't know.
But it's just weird, like, because even after the match, we see Natalya, who's really not happy. We see Tamina. We see Liv Morgan, but there was like not a single mention of Chelsea Green, her debut, anything like that. I think it could have been something more serious than just Chelsea Green having a really crappy debut. But hopefully she's okay.
Yeah.
We really hope that it's not anything serious, and she's able to kind of make her way to the team, because the way that it was kind of shown, I could have sworn that like Chelsea Green was supposed to win this, but then maybe they called an audible and they basically had Liv Morgan win this.
Yeah, it really felt like Chelsea Green was going to just be like debuting and winning and earning a spot. It totally felt like that, and then it just like, I don't know what, something definitely, it feels like something didn't go as planned there.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to Kayla, who's backstage with Drew McIntyre. She wants to know if it's a wise decision for Drew to face someone so vicious, like Jey Uso. And Drew actually was, he came into SmackDown, as you said at the beginning of the show, to kind of send a message to Roman Reigns, but it turns out that he gets to actually send a message to Randy Orton through inflicting pain onto Jey Uso, and boy, did he inflict some pain. But
he sure did.
Before we get to the main event, we do see another backstage segment with Big E. He's hustling some employee. Last week it was him playing board games with someone and making some cash, and this week he kind of forced someone to basically do a couple of jump ropes, and they couldn't, and he won some money off that. The Street Profits, they basically show up and they hype up their match against the New Day. They're like, but we just kind of wanted to apologize to you guys, so we kind of made some food. So they kind of, show him the food, and it's shaped like an L. And they're like, well, that's because come Survivor Series, we're going to serve the New Day an L. And basically Big E calls them out. He basically calls them New Day Light. He calls them knockoff New Day, Diet New Day. I was like, oof, that's kind of rough. And Big E starts laughing, but the Street Profits, they aren't laughing.
No, they want the smoke, they want the scoop, they want the W's. Just one, this is all fine, but what's up with Big E's, we might have him win the Royal Rumble this year, singles push to, I don't know what he's doing right now. I guess it's an unfortunate limbo between not really being in the Survivor Series thing, but why isn't he on Team SmackDown? I hope he qualifies.
That's the thing.
What's going on there?
That's why I don't understand why Big E isn't on Team SmackDown. I feel like, Big E facing off against the likes of Keith Lee and Braun Strowman, I think that would be killer. Just the idea, again, I didn't even think about this, but just me thinking about Keith Lee versus Big E, I think that's, who wouldn't want that, right?
Yeah, their names rhyme too.
There you go. Just that alone, it just warrants it. But I'm hoping that he qualifies. There's still a lot of spots left, so I don't really know what SmackDown is doing. Survivor Series is a week from Sunday, so you got to have some members.
Yeah, it's strange that not a single person qualified for the men's team. They just have the three guys. They're still missing two.
Are they they have two? They only have two members. They have KO and they have Jey Uso. Right?
No, Seth Rollins as well.
Oh, sorry, Seth Rollins. So now you have two more members. And you have 1 week left. You have one go-home show left. I mean, it's clearly they're going to fill that up. But Team Raw is already set up. Team Raw has the women's squad set up, and they have the men's squad set up. And SmackDown is still kind of clamoring.
It's the Fox Network executives. They want to keep a low profile. They want to keep their team close to their chest. It's a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. So now we have one more segment left before we call it a night. We have our main event. We have Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. I thought this was a really, really good match with basically Drew looking so strong, and he's just ragdolling Jey Uso at the beginning of the match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, first half of the match was all Drew McIntyre, and it was only until Jey kicked the rope as he was getting in, and it was kind of like a low blow thing where Jey took control. It cut the commercial, and then he was in firm control. Mm-hmm. For that post-commercial segment until Drew was able to again just overpower him, tossing him from both sides of the ring. They end up fighting outside after Jey escapes a Claymore attempt, and then Roman's music hits. So being distracted by music, that's a thing.
Of course.
Jay's able to toss Drew into the ring posts and everything, and throws him back into the ring, and he's all hyped up, and he tells Roman I'm gonna beat him, and he goes back into the ring, but Roman pulls him back out and says, don't just beat him, make him understand. And so he goes into the ring and he starts pummeling Drew. And then Drew's able to fight off and then just hit a Claymore out of nowhere and just totally beat Jey. And then it wasn't over. He just got in Roman's face, and it was amazing how he basically says, do you understand me now? And I'm going to be the champion on Sunday. And I'm going to defeat you on Sunday. And then Roman basically says, well, get one of these. And he lifts his title. And then we'll talk on Sunday. And he walks away. And it was just how could they not have Drew McIntyre win on Monday?
Well, but
what have they done?
But this is WrestleMania match for me. This is just so good. Again, I think the show kind of started extremely well, ended extremely well, just capped it off with just Drew McIntyre showing up, surprisingly, unexpectedly. No one really saw that coming. And again, I think everyone tonight delivered a solid episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, just like Raw this week, SmackDown was very good this week. Totally happy. There was that weird women's match, and what they did to Bayley seemed a little lame, but overall, the rest was top notch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a solid episode.
And again, like let's not forget the whole final chapter, right? So no more Mysterio and Rollins, hopefully. And just kind of the pairing of Chad Gable. It feels so good to say Chad Gable and Otis. I think it should be really interesting. And
Rolls off the tongue, Chad Gable.
that's it, right? And again, just kind of hoping that everything is all right with Chelsea Green, and that's it, man. Like honestly, like I think from the beginning to the end, and even the whole Sasha Banks Carmella stuff. Yes, I get that Bailey was kind of looked like a chump, but I'm actually looking forward to what Carmella and Sasha can do together.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, like it was totally fine. It just I don't know why they had to put Bailey in there. Like it didn't do Bailey any favors. The whole
Yeah.
segment was fine, but I don't know, just that part.
But hey, so SmackDown again. Like, it seems that it's all positive colors. I'm gonna give SmackDown an 8 on 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. Like if I had to give it a number, there it is.
We never
The seven, the curse of the seven is broken.
And now the
The
curse of
streak
the 8 begins.
is over. Well, that's not a curse. If we're watching 8 out of
It's true,
10
it's
episodes
true.
every week, I feel pretty good about that.
It's true. You are absolutely right. But hey, we are the Wrestling Experience. Thank you so much for watching our stuff. If you do enjoy it, there's a subscribe button somewhere over there. So just subscribe, and right below is the like button, and right below that is the description box where you can find us, wherever you can listen to us in audio format and on social media. And that's it, guys. We'll see you for the Raw recap.
So I just had a thought. I think the reason why this episode of SmackDown was so good was because there was not a single segment involving Lars Sullivan. Can it be?
It is.